Hi guys, and welcome to my Battlefield 1 tank tutorial. We did one of these for Battlefield 4 and it was very popular with my subscribers. They liked the way that we went through from the very basic parts of tanking to the more complicated parts of tanking. We're going to do this again in Battlefield 1 and look at all the different tanks, starting out today with the light tank. We'll then look at the different loadouts that you have available because there are several presets that you can pick from. And then we'll look at some of the more specific things with tanking that you can do to improve your game. If you do enjoy the episode, please leave a like down below and let me know what I can help you with in regards to the tank. I've been playing the game a bit with the trial and I'll definitely be putting quite a lot of hours into it with the full game and getting some other YouTubers on here who have experience at tanking, and we'll look at getting as much info on here as possible. So the three light tanks that you have a choice of are the light close support tank, the light flanker tank and the light howitzer tank. All three of these are available to play in the trial. You have to unlock them using war bonds. You are given the light close support tank to start things off. And just in case you're wondering about the difference between the light tank and the other tanks, the light tank is basically the smallest one, the fastest one, and it has a turret on top which will spin round, apart from when using the light howitzer tank loadout, which I will talk about briefly in a little while. So during the beta I was mainly using the howitzer tank, although I did have a little go with the other two. The light close support tank was mainly used during the alpha because that was the only one that was available, and with that one you are going to have the main shell and canister shell as your loadout. Now that's the one that I want to focus on today, but I will be going over some generic tips that you can definitely use with the other two loadouts as well. So firstly, if you are used to the beta build of the tank and you were going on some massive kill streaks and really enjoying yourself in the tank, don't expect that to happen as soon as you jump onto the main game. They have nerfed the light tank especially, and with the light howitzer tank they've completely destroyed it and taken away a lot of the things that made that thing so powerful. Now I'm not saying that's a bad thing because the howitzer tank was very powerful in the beta, but we didn't see all of the anti-tank weaponry in the beta either, so it's kind of it's one where they've nerfed it without seeing the full game, but there will be ways around it, and that's what these guides will be good for. Your loadout in the light close support tank is fairly simple. As I said, you have a main shell which can be used for infantry, tanks, planes, anything that's in your way, and then you have a canister shell which is mainly effective against infantry. It is a one-shot kill. It's very powerful, it's got decent range, and the only problem for me with it is the fact that you have to reload it like you would a tank shell. So if you're getting pushed by a lot of enemies, you usually have to take one down, take another one down, take another one down, instead of trying to get them all with a machine gun or something like that. Your third option in your loadout is an extinguisher style countermeasure. Now what this does, and I've got an example in the background, is it stops your tank from being immobilized. Now if you have ever been shot onto low HP and you notice the back of the tank has exploded into flames, you click 3 on your keyboard or whatever the equivalent of that is on your controller, and it will put your tank back in action and you can drive off. It also regenerates a small amount of health. It's very useful if you're in a very sticky situation and you've just been hit by a couple of grenades and you can't move and you're a sitting duck. You hit that and you can escape. It's not as effective as the one that you get with the light howitzer tank, which is just a health regen, but it is very effective at getting yourself out of trouble. The fourth thing you get in your loadout is a medkit / ammo kit, and you click 4 on your keyboard, or again the equivalent on your controller, and you'll drop one of those out of the back. It's very useful if you have infantry around you, and I would suggest always having infantry around you in a Battlefield game if you're in a tank, because then you have numbers to help you out against things and you can also support those infantry as best you can. A nice little trick for this tank and this loadout is to regularly drop med packs and ammo packs behind you. That way you're going to pick up extra points as well as keeping everybody in your team healthy, and that means infantry are going to stay around you, which again, as I said before, is very important. Now a couple of things that are different between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the repairing and the repair system is massively different. However, in the full game and in the trial, we have seen a repair tool that is available with the support class. This means that you can keep your tank alive without the driver actually doing anything. You could have maybe somebody on comms, somebody in the squad, standing behind you in the tank, keeping you repaired. Now this is a big deal because obviously a tank with repairs is going to be way more effective than a tank without it. And as a driver, you can repair from the inside of your tank just by clicking X on your keyboard, or again the equivalent on your controller. But whenever you take a little bit of damage during that animation, it resets and you have to do it again. It's also a little slower, I think, in the full game than it was in the beta. So bearing that all in mind, it's really worthwhile finding somebody to help you repair. Now, of course, you can get out of your tank and repair it yourself, but I really would recommend not doing that. Again, I have a little bit of gameplay in the background where it's my first game, I think, of the trial. We're in the tank doing some damage, and for some reason the entire enemy team had spawned around me, and there was nothing I could do with the canister shell to take them all down. I was taking damage, and the only option I had was to get out, and you just get killed instantly the moment you get out of a tank. So again, I would really say do not get out of your tank unless it's absolutely necessary. Dealing with other tanks is possibly the most difficult thing that you're going to come across with the light close support tank. The problem is, as you'll see from this bit of gameplay in the background, is you take massive damage and you don't deal that much damage with this main shell. That means you have to take advantage of the speed of the light tank and keep yourself away from enemy tanks as best you can. The problem with this is people on your team are going to want you to be doing the damage to enemy tanks. And that's the way it was in Battlefield 4. If there's a tank on your team and a tank on the other team, they should really battle each other until one person wins. However, it would be very silly to do that in this light close support tank because it's just not powerful enough. So making sure that you've got infantry around you to help you working as a team to take down enemy tanks is essential. It's pretty difficult in this game to take on bigger tanks in the small tank. It wasn't as difficult in the beta because the howitzer tank had a really powerful shell. But just bear that in mind, and it also brings up the option of working in tandem with other tanks as well. So you've got kind of a 2-on-1 situation all the time. As for dealing with enemies, as I said before, remember your canister shell takes a while to reload. Your main shell's got pretty decent splash damage, but it's not fantastic. So always make sure you have enough ammo. You can check what you've got with the bottom right hand graphic on the screen. You can get up to 5 shells at once, and then they take a couple of seconds to reload. The way I like to do it is make sure that I've always got enough shells by clicking R on my keyboard and reloading, and then engaging enemies at distance before pushing onto a flag. So I'll shoot a couple of guys down, I'll move forward, I'll shoot a couple of guys down and move forward like that. Quite a lot of people rush straight onto a flag, and that's kind of suicide in one of these tanks, especially if you come up against another piece of armor. Anti-tank grenades are also very effective against you, so make sure again that you're clearing out spots before pushing onto them. You'll find on a couple of the newer maps in the trial that there are some very heavy choke points where grenades and stuff all get thrown into, and if you try and push through that in a tank, you're going to get taken down and find yourself stranded. The tip is to keep moving all the time. Hopefully you enjoyed part 1 of this tank guide. It's very simple stuff that we've gone through today, but we'll do plenty of other guides. I'm going to do a couple more in this little mini series of the light tank, and then we'll look at the medium tank and maybe even the A7V once I get the full game and get some nice squad play going on. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. Leave any tips and tricks that you have for the light tank in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next episode.